Jonathan from Your Why, and I'm truly honored to have this opportunity to share with you guests that are experts, leaders in the community, in the field, related to really living a mindful, conscious life. I am honored to have our guest today, Billy Moore, president of the ABC Youth Foundation. Billy, thanks for joining us. And then,
Jonathan, thank you.
pleasure. And then also Terrence Shig is, I believe, executive director of the foundation.
Chief Operating Officer.
Chief Operating Officer.
Yes,
I appreciate what that means too.
Yeah, and since he's come on board, my job has been.
So I want to share just a little bit of background. What we're going to talk about today is really fighting for our youth, and the ABC Youth Foundation has been doing it for 63 plus years. ABC stands for Anybody Can. It used to mean Any Boy Can.
That's
and
right. That's right.
I'll give them an opportunity to share, but just to give you a backdrop, Billy is the son of boxing legend Archie Moore. Archie was the light heavyweight champion of the world from December 1952 to 1962. I was in awe when I saw that statistic. That's the longest reign of that weight class. Archie won 185 of 219 recorded fights with 131 victories by knockout. And Archie wasn't just a boxer. He had concern for humanity and what was going on in the world. And so I'm going to pitch it to you, Billy, and let you share with us how ABC got started and what that vision was, what your father saw.
Well, just to, because I always like to set the record straight. He had 226 professional fights. 226.
Wow.
And out of those 226, he had 141 actual knockouts. And the record back then, well, black people and white people, a lot of them didn't have birth certificates. And so what had happened, nobody ever knew his age. That's why they called him Ageless Archie. And he held that championship for 10 years. The ring record books, the experts say he should have had that championship for over 20 years, that he should have been the actual champion. But back during that time, if a white fella had the title, and we can talk that way today, had the title, if he didn't want to fight you, he didn't have to fight you. And he was ducked for years. And so finally, he left the United States and went to Argentina. And he lived in the castle with Juan Perón and Evita Perón.
Wow.
He happened to meet them over there. And he sat in cabinet meetings with the notorious dictator. And so he stayed there for about a little over 2 years, right at 2 years. And he came back and he finally got a shot at the title, and he won it and held it for 10 years. And as the story goes, he had a vision that the United States was headed for a gang and a drug epidemic. That was a vision that he had. And so he met with President Eisenhower and said, Mr. President, if we would go into prevention opposed to rehabilitation, we could save billions of dollars and millions of lives. Where are we today? We're in that situation right today.
Yes.
And the rest is history. So what happened? He started an organization that was called Any Boy Can. And there was a supermarket owner by the name of Mr. Oz that owned food at supermarkets. He was building a shopping mall over on National Avenue. But the vandalism was so high, they couldn't get it built. And so he had heard about the ABC that was being held in the backyard. And so anyway, so they wound up, he opened up the first ABC Center, helped my dad open up the first ABC Center. And after that, the rest is history. The shopping mall was built. And then American Savings and Loan. I don't know if you remember the bank, American, okay.
Yeah.
Well, there was a Mr. Bland. They were building the Country Club Crest up in Vallejo, California, at 301 Sage Street. They got in touch with my dad. The vandalism there in that housing complex was over $10,000 a month. Within 6 weeks' time, and what I'm saying is documented, within 6 weeks' time, it went from over $10,000 a month to less than $100 a month.
Wow.
And after that, they were able to go on and build that housing project up in Vallejo, California, which is called, today it's called the Country Club Crest.
That's a remarkable history, especially as you started there, Billy. You're talking about, you know, meeting with President Eisenhower and sharing the concerns that are out there, and that your father had that vision of what needed to be done. And this is in the 50s.
Yes, sir.
I think about athletes using their stature in their sport. We see that more now, and maybe Muhammad Ali, Cassius Clay at the time, he used that. But your father back in the 50s, that's phenomenal. Really remarkable heritage.
It really, it's wild. We'll sit and we'll have meetings, and some of our board meetings, and we've gotten to talking about that. It was really remarkable that, well, ABC has been in Nigeria, Africa, Jamaica, Canada, in Canada.
Wow.
And actually up in Canada, in Nova Scotia, Canada, to be exact. About 3 years ago, while I'm talking to a gentleman on the phone that was a boxing instructor up there, and he got to talking about Archie Moore. He said, Billy, he said, he went to sharing things I knew my dad did. So he had taken a station wagon and went up to Nova Scotia, Canada, and carried kids around through the school district, doing what's called the ABC concept, where we teach our youngsters how to step off in life with their best foot forward, without cowardice, but with courage and dignity. And the guy's name was Mr. Johnson, I believe. He said, let me share something with you. Because of your dad and ABC, Nova Scotia, this part of Nova Scotia, Canada that I live in, it was one of your downtrodden parts of Canada, filled with all kind of chaos and violence and things that were going on. He said, because of Archie Moore, this part of Nova Scotia, Canada is now one of your upper middle class of Nova Scotia, Canada.
That's quite an impact.
It truly is. But now, as I said again, it used to be called Any Boy Can. But with the emergence, I got in trouble, Jonathan, about saying this here. I was sitting up and I'm giving this speech and I'm feeling good and thinking everything is going good. And I said, with the emergence of our powerful, strong women, and the lady got up, she said, I don't know what you mean emergence. She said, we've been here all the time. I felt about that small. so I want to say this here, because of our powerful, strong women being recognized. That's when ABC, I think it was in 1970 something, it was changed from Any Boy Can to Anybody Can.
Fantastic. And I've seen some of the video and shots of your patrons, so to speak, and see the girls there, the boys there, the men and the women. That's fantastic. And so, as a quick aside, I know we had a great conversation before we came on. I didn't share with you that for the last couple of years I've been boxing, And I went back to New York, and I went to a gym there that is known for bringing through all the famous boxers. And so I went there for a training. And so I thought I was feeling pretty good with boxing. And exactly. And the guy goes, Hollywood, you're Hollywood. You're not a boxer. And so I was humbled. So Billy, I'm gonna have to come over and get some lessons. But share with me how boxing comes to play when you're talking about we're empowering our youth and empowering them with courage and dignity. So share how boxing comes to play.
Well, this is what happens. A kid, I'm sure when you were growing up, if you were around anything that looked like boxing, every kid wants to be champion. So what happens when they come in here? When you look back there and see those bags and everything, that's the trick to get them in here. And once we get them in here, okay, if you want to step off in life with your best foot forward, without cowardice, but with courage and dignity, there are some things that you have to go through. And it starts with using the brain. And it starts with having discipline, respect for yourself, respect for others, and avoiding the pitfalls of life, avoiding the not to do's in life, but doing the do's to do in life, such as don't lie, don't refuse to go to church, don't lie, don't cheat, don't steal, don't smoke, don't drink, don't gamble, don't talk back to your parents, don't join a gang. Okay? The things we should do: go to church, go to school, go to junior high school, go to high school, get a high school diploma, go to college. You'd be surprised. I don't know about this time, but 20 years ago, you'd be surprised of the youngsters that, well, thought you got a GED opposed to a degree,
Yes.
opposed to your high school diploma. And so when they come in here, there's something that's called the ABC concept. And before they can start boxing, they have to do this ABC concept.
That's great.
Where it's the things I just got through mentioning, the simple, basic do's and don'ts of life. And once they start doing that, and we check out their grades, which Terrence will talk about that here in a little bit. We check out their grades and everything. And if the grades aren't where they should be, there's no boxing going on.
Wow.
See, we have a boxing gym with the library inside of it. And it's our form of a library in which all the kids feel that way also. But
I love that whole premise because, you know, as you said, everyone wants to be the champion. They want to get to the opportunity to box, but you're vetting them. You have to take care of business first, and you're moving them along a path that, as you said, takes them away from the pitfalls and builds certain characters and traits that are so critical to being successful in life.
And what, you know what? After this year, I'd like for Terrence to step in. And but what, we have a young lady. We talk about college, but we have a number of kids that have gone on, never went to college. All of them have graduated from high school, but we have kids in here that's gotten, I'll tell you a quick story. There's a young lady that had been away for a little bit. She came back, said, "Coach, I need to talk to you." So she came in, she said, "Coach, I got something to tell you." And so I looked at her and said, "What are you talking about?" She said, "Coach, I'm with child." And I could tell by the look on her face, I must have really looked crazy. And she said, Coach, wait, Coach. She said, "Honey, will you come here?" She called her husband over. She said, "Coach, this is my husband." And she said, at ABC, we're taught to get married first before we have children. And that made me feel so good because, let me straighten out something right now, because I'm a guy that kind of was up and down and around, and I had a couple of children before I got married. So it really made me feel good for that kid to say that. There's another young kid, Terry Diamond. Terry Diamond was a kid that was running around, part white, part Mexican kid. He thought he was the biggest gangbanger in town. He wasn't but 13 years old. This was probably about almost 15 years ago. Oh, about 4 or 5 years ago, he came by my house. He said, "Coach, I want you to meet somebody." And he said, "This is my wife." I said, "What?" He said, "Coach, this is my wife." It made me feel so good. 2 years later, he came by. He said, "Coach, I need to see you." He took me out to his car. They had a little baby.
Oh, wonderful.
And Martin Nunez, a kid that came into ABC. This was a kid thought he was the baddest kid in the world. Came in and he'd be out of his head, as he tells me today. Coach ran out coming in, I'd be out of my head. And he came in, he got a little wild, he dropped out of school, but cut through the chase. He came back, went on and graduated, graduated from high school. Wound up going to law school. He invited me to an event. Went to this event. He said, "Coach, see those police over there?" I said, "Yeah, those are 2 of them that arrested me." Now, this is a kid. Now, he's one of our deputy district attorneys, graduated from law school, and those are the things that we take a lot of pride about at ABC. We have Isabel Garcia, who just graduated from UCSD. Last week. Lamar Slater, who's 41 years old now. He's been with ABC since he was 8 years old. He went on to Morehouse and graduated with honors. And he came back to give back. And we have Lizette Canales at 13 years old. She stopped doing ballet to come to ABC to box. She won, I think was it 3 or 4 titles? 4 titles.
Oh my goodness.
And now she's winning a title, mechanical engineering at UC Berkeley.
Yeah, you know what? I so admire hearing those success stories because, you know, working with youth, they're at a time of life where you have the opportunity to have an impact, but often you never know. You never know what happens. And so obviously the impact that you had, obviously they were successful in life, but you impacted them in a way that they wanted to come back to you because you have a record on them. They wanted you to know the difference that you made. That really very heartwarming. And I know you don't do it for the accolades. You do it really for the mission and to make a difference in the community. But it's so heartwarming to hear the success of those different ABC youth that have come through.
Well, that's the work that you all do, the work that, and I'm happy that us nonprofits are talking here, because that's one of the things that we've been attempting to do, that I was sharing with you about the cross work, the cross-pollinating.
Yes.
The cross-pollinating. And so if we can all come together in some shape or form, because what happens, there's a net that's cast out into the sea. And when that net is pulled in, a lot of the fish fall back in the sea. But ABC is an organization, and the YMCA can play that role also. Of those fish that's falling back in the sea, we cast our net and we catch those fish that's falling back in the sea.
And working together, we can have a much greater impact. So Terrence, Billy, just let me ask Terrence a couple questions.
No problem.
How does someone get involved? At what age can they get involved? And do they term out by age out at a particular point in time? And Billy mentioned the learning center. So share some of the nuts and bolts, if you will.
Oh, no problem. So our youngest is 7 years old, and until you don't want to come anymore. So it's as old as you want to be, or I should say, as young as you want to be. Because we've had them at 7 years old, and I still remember there's one family that came in, and the youngest was 7. And we happened to be out at the time, and we had somebody that was new doing the intake. And so all of the other siblings were older. So they were all told, yeah, but the new person thought it was 8 years old. And you could have, I mean, it was like that little boy was crushed that he couldn't participate. And then when we got in and we told him, no, it's 7. If he's 7, he can participate. He just brightened up like a light bulb. So yeah, we take him as young as 7 years old. And the beauty of ABC, like Coach was saying, is it has a little bit of everything. And we like to say that we're so much more than a boxing gym, because what we develop is character. We develop skills and processes and thought processes and critical thinking that takes you not just from here, but from when they walk out the door, which is what every parent wants. You want them to be able to go out the door and make good decisions. We don't always do it, but you want them to have the best chance to make those good decisions. And that's what we teach them. In every aspect of what we do, from coming in, from looking people in the eye, from giving everybody a fist bump, from calling your instructors either instructor or Mr. Or Mrs. or just every level that you can think of, and it's done over and over and over again. And it's amazing because even the parents will come in and they'll sit either with the tutors and watch, or they'll sit in back and watch them work out. So we have so many different aspects, and it's just the program was set up so miraculously with that foundation of the concept. Is that in that concept, in that 20-minute repetition, they get a thought process and they get to expand their horizons. Because we talk about, okay, what do you want to be in life? You don't have to go to college, but what I want you to have an idea of what you want to do. If you want to be an athlete, okay, but I want you to have a profession on top of being an athlete. So from a very young age, we start them out at thinking, okay, if I want to be an entrepreneur, if I want to be a banker, then okay, there's certain steps that I need to take. I need to finish elementary school, finish middle school, finish high school, go to college. So that thought process of, okay, if I want something, there's a process to get there. And not only is there a process, but there's people that'll help me get there. Mm-hmm. And it's almost, it boils down, and it's universal. I was just I grew up in Rapid City, South Dakota. And I was just out there talking to a fellow educator, and he was saying, you know what? The thing that is so universal about what you do and I do is that connection. Those kids, and I know you experience it too, they know that you are happy to see them and that you're glad that they're there. And the refreshing and the sad thing about that is they don't get that everywhere they go. So when they see it and it's genuine, they cling on to it. And when you have them in that type of atmosphere, anything's possible. You can teach them all of the things and all the foundations that they need. So that's what ABC does in a nutshell, on top of anything else that we need. We pride ourselves on being part of the community and partnering with the local representatives from District 4, District 5, District 3, the local police chief, San Diego police chief, the sheriff, the probation department. So whenever there's something in the community that goes on, there's a way for us to reach out and find out how to help. Especially in these times, that's something that's extremely important. And that foundation has been set since 1957 to present.
We're so fortunate to have you because, as Billy alluded to in the very beginning, boxing is really just the prop. You're coaching boxing, but it's life coaching.
Yes,
life skills.
Those boxers, those people that are coming to you are so fortunate to have mentors like yourself that are invested in them being able to be equipped with life skills. Tell me a little bit, if you will, about the Learning Center and bridging the gap.
Oh, the Learning Center, what we have is we have tutors here, and it's a computer lab. So We have computers, we have internet access, and we have a library, as Coach says. So on Tuesdays and Thursdays, before the virus, you could come in person, have a tutor to help you with your homework at any time. Right now, we're doing it virtually, so even if you still need a tutor, we'll schedule a time with you with our education director, Lamar Slater, and you can have a tutor with you one-on-one that will help you get your assignments done, organize your work, all those things that the kids need help learning, especially the ones that fall behind. And that's kind of where we specialize, is okay, getting them back on track and making sure that they are successful in the future. So that the Learning Lab is a big part of it. I love the way Coach puts it, is that we're a boxing gym with a library inside it. And every kid, in order to get to that gym, has to walk through that computer lab in that library. So whether they get it or not on a conscious level, there is a level of, okay, books are important, education is important. Even if I'm not participating in this, I know that it's here. And even more so, the parents know it's here. So if grades start slipping, the parents will stop them before they get to the gym and direct them to the computer lab. And it's an amazing thing to see. It truly is.
And then I hear there is a initiative, or it might be a fundraiser, a million punches.
Now that one I'll let Coach explain. That's your brainchild.
Well, it was back here a few years ago, when kind of some chaos and everything was getting started. Well, we had one of our board members, and actually he had came up with an idea about punching the bag. And I said, well, a lot of people can punch the bag, but we've got to, came up with a million punches from the heart, with punching out gang violence, racism, disrespect for the police having disrespect for the community. And actually, this million punches from the heart started before all of this chaos that's going on right now. So we're in the process of, how do they call it? The young people call it, Jonathan, you should know what the young people call it, with that nice hairdo. We're getting ready to ramp up. Yeah, we're gonna ramp up and get ready to do, with the police department, do a session of million punches from the heart. And the gentleman, our board member, Tom Courtney, was the one that kind of came up with the idea about punching something. And so then we added a million punches from the heart, and the things that we're going to punch out, and why could come together with us. A number of us nonprofits could come together and punch out this pandemic that's going on, and punch out this chaos that's going on in our society. And we can add to what, we can have the kids to add to it what they want to punch out.
You guys are so innovative and timely with everything you're doing. I mean, you have a pulse on the community need, and you're out there doing it. I really admire the work that you're doing. And the different...
I didn't mean to cut you off, but our kids are in trouble. They're in trouble. And the future, the kids, they are our future.
Yes.
And the world is becoming a very alienating place to our kids.
Yeah.
It's going to take guys and women like us to help them stay connected.
Yeah.
Because they're being disconnected, and we can't have that.
Yes.
There's so much confusion going on now. But with what the YMCA teaches, what ABC teaches, what other nonprofits teach, we have to come together.
Agreed.
To make a difference. It's a must.
Billy, that's a fantastic note for us to be able to close our time today. It's too short. I know we had a great conversation even before we got on, and really enjoyed my time with you, and I will reach out and connect with you further. I've really enjoyed this introduction and time. And Terrence, thank you very much. Continue to do the wonderful work you're doing, and I'd like to talk further about how we can collaborate moving forward. But I appreciate you being on today, and wish you the best and to be well, and all those that came and viewed. Thank you for being with us, and have a wonderful rest of the day. Thank you very much, everybody.
Thank you, Jonathan.
All right, thank you.
Take care.
You guys, thank you.
Okay. Alrighty.
All right.
Where the